No Excuses with Michael DiLeonardo. I'm your host, RJ Roger, and this is the Gotti Tapes Part 2. We're picking up directly at the conclusion of the Gotti Tapes 1, which is available now on YouTube. And to anybody that would like to watch the remaining 7 sections, please join us on Patreon. This is a 9-part discussion. This is only the second part that has been released to YouTube. So if you're interested in having an inside breakdown of John Gotti's discussions with Frank Locascio and Sammy the Bull that were used to convict John Gotti, please join us on Patreon, and Michael will break down these tapes. What is Frankie doing, though? Is Frankie trying to protect Sammy, save his life, or is Frankie...
Let's read his answer. Let's read his answer. He does answer the next line.
He says, I agree with you. John says, am I wrong, Frankie? And if I'm wrong, correct me. Locascio says, fuck. John, it's up to you to pull him in. He's still being iffy, still being wishy-washy. And then John says...
Nobody says, but you're not wrong. You said it 2 weeks ago with Marine. So what does he remember what I told you earlier? What he said, I said, this is not new. This didn't happen then. This has been going on. This has been building on John for a while. And now Frankie's agreeing with it and said, yeah, pull him up, but you're not wrong. Now Frankie realizes I got to wake up here. He must have said, I got to wake up and tell this guy's not wrong. He wants me to call him a liar. So Frankie had to answer him.
Now, but it took John again to push him, because when Locascio said, pull him in, John says, yeah, but am I wrong?
Right.
Is what I'm saying wrong? He's pushing him again. So, and then finally Locascio goes, no, you're not wrong. Like with an exclamation point in the transcript. So I'm assuming that was the first time he put some passion into it. He said, no, you're not wrong.
Right.
So that's when he finally gives him he finally gets a flat answer. So I guess what I'm wondering is, what is Frank trying to do? Is he trying to protect Sammy?
John Gotti became the boss. A couple of weeks later, I became a captain. In 1987, I became acting Gunzlier of our family. I later became the official Gunzlier. In January of 1990, I accepted the position of official underboss, which I held until I began to cooperate with the government in 1991. I decided to cooperate before we, meaning me, John Gotti, and our acting Gunzlier, Frank Locascio, went to trial. I testified in that trial and some others. I'll be testifying at more trials in the near future. As part of my deal with the government, I pleaded guilty to a charge that has a 20-year maximum sentence rather than the life sentence that I was facing if convicted at trial. As part of my cooperation, I told the government about my life of crimes, including the fact that I participated in 19 murders.
Is he trying to be neutral because he thinks John's testing him? Is he... like, what's he thinking in the moment, do you think? From your perspective?
Oh, Frank knows he's on the carpet.
Okay.
He's just not handling it well.
Okay.
Not handling it well. Now, at this point, if it was me, John, relax. Let's calm down. Let's work through this for a minute. You and I take this fucking guy for a walk, and we'll tell him, this is the way it's going to be, Sammy. We're going to give the construction to somebody else. Johnny, what do you think about that? We'll take the construction. We'll give it to a captain in the family. That would have been something I may have said. John's looking for this guy to have a commitment. He's not. He's still straddling the fence. He's not sticking up for Sammy the way you would think, because that would be a huge mistake. But he's not coming to John's defense. And when John's telling him everything that's the truth, this is what this tape is about. This is the misnomer out there. This is the misnomer with Gravano, that he's the victim. John's the victim. Okay, who gets mad right now? But just listen to this. John's telling the truth, and he keeps asking Frankie, what's with you? What's wrong? He's saying, like, what's wrong with you? You're not answering me. Am I a liar? Call me a liar, Frank. At least call me a liar. I'm making this up. That's what he says. I don't fabricate anything here. So he does. He finally speaks up. He says, yeah, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. This is what John's looking for. All right, Frank, you heard it 2 weeks ago. We're still here. I talked to him. If John said I talked to him, but we're still here. Nothing's changing. Sammy's running wild. Sammy's out of order, according to John. According to my interpretation of this, what John's doing and saying.
Wow.
He's got Sammy in the background, and he's got this guy on the carpet testing his loyalties right now. Well, testing him, he's even strong as an administrative guy.
Wow. Now, before I go to this next one, you know, John, you know how he expresses himself when he's frustration. Just for the viewer who's listening, what's John's voice range? Low, medium, high? Is he very animated? Is he flailing his arms? Is he speaking like? Is he moving close to you? Like, explain John from how you know John and you can see this anger. Explain what John's demeanor is like. His voice tone is like. Explain that to me.
Oh, the angrier he gets, the deeper his voice gets. Not high pitch. Sometimes when I get mad, my voice goes up, not down. John gets deeper. His voice gets more grovelly, I would say. And he does, he's very, like we're Italian. We use our hands a lot. And so I think he's being very animated, if that's what you're looking for.
Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how, maybe trying to think about Locascio, like what he's seeing, because maybe why he's so not sure what to do. Because
I'm going to tell you what he's seeing. He's seeing John's neck this fat and his nose this wide open, and veins probably popping out all
over. Locascio says, "No, you're not wrong." Gotti responds, "But Jesus motherfucking Christ, I'm with some people today. But I was marine construction. I said, maybe it's because it's my company. Marine construction, what's that?"
Those are the two Irish guys.
Okay.
The two Irish guys that were paying off John and the family for work they did, that jobs they never got that were being taken away from them.
Then he goes on, he says, he got nothing. They got no job. If Angelo was sitting next to me, would they have a job? If Angelo was handling Bobby Sasso, would they have a job? You tell me, right or wrong. What's he saying there to Locascio?
In other words, if Angelo was next to me, Angelo Ruggerio, this wouldn't be going on. Things would have been handled differently. Guy you could trust.
Yeah.
Would this be going on? Dude.
Wow. Man, he's really putting it out there. I mean, John's really laying out a case here.
Mm-hmm.
Locascio responds, they would get all the jobs.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, they would get all the jobs.
Yep.
You get boss, get back. Right.
Yep. Gotti says, guaranteed. And I don't want that, Frank. You know me better than that. I don't want that. I said, give him one job.
Give him one job now. Demanding now. Give Marine Construction one job. He told Sammy.
Okay. Bosco, he says, you get Bosco off your back because he keeps on breaking your fucking balls. Who's Bosco?
Bosco was a Westie. Bosco was, I don't know if he might have been Serbian, but he fought in that war there in the 80s. He was with our family, a bomb expert, murderer. He helped fix the jury, one of John's cases. And the Marine Construction at the time was going into Bosco and Joe Watts. So you're getting Bosco off your back because Bosco's probably saying, John, we ain't getting no jobs. We're doing what we got to do. Where's the work? Sammy's taking all the work. So he's one of the guys complaining. That's why he says, Frank says he's breaking your balls. He's not breaking his balls. He's asking for what's going on. So you gave him one job. You threw him a bone, which is not supposed to be. Just to save face.
Gotti continues. Frankie, the guy gives Joe Watts $9,000 every 2 weeks. He takes a third, and I get 2/3. don't I get $2,000 a week? Don't I get $2,000 a week pay? Who gives you $2,000 a week?
Okay. This is the Marine construction. The Irish guys are giving them that much money to Joe Watts, like I stated earlier, and they're giving the money for nothing. John said. He said, "What are they giving me? This $2,000 a week. Who gives you $2,000 a week for nothing? They're paying $9,000, $4,500 a week, right? Is it 9,000?
9,000.
Yeah, $4,500 a week." He said, "We're getting this money for nothing. We're like robbing these guys. Who gives you money for nothing? It's not for nothing. They expect us to get them some work. They always got work. Now they're stopping to get the work."
So they're paying, but they're not getting a job because Sammy's taking it for the marathon or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying. And he's saying these guys are right. Who's going to give you $2,000 a week to do nothing? John's saying, like, he feels bad. He wants to get these guys to work. He feels embarrassed. They're coming to beefing to him. We got no job. Sammy's taking everything.
Wow. I missed that one. That's nice. Okay, that really makes sense. All right. Locascio responds to that. He says, "But he should have done something."
No, there's more to that one, I think.
No, he says, "Don't I get $2,000 a week pay? Who gives you $2,000 a week?" Locascio.
Yeah, he goes, and nothing. And since March.
Yep.
How many fucking months in between the year, Frank? So he's telling them, yeah, there's 1 year, and from March until December, they've been paying the money and got nothing, no jobs.
Gotcha. Okay. Nothing. And since March, that's too many months in a fucking year, Frank. And I'm not going to go for this shit. And another thing, this shit about your Dachina is on welfare, and another fucking Dachina is on Easy Street. I purposely done that tonight with Jackie and Butterass. What's he talking about with this? These people on welfare and some people living on Easy Street. And
well, what he means is when he says your Dachina, he don't mean Frankie Lowe's Dachina. They're all rich. They're all way off. They all got a lot of money. He's saying you're as far as the 25 captains, right? Some of the guys are dead broke on welfare, guys like Jackie Knows and some of the other captains that really weren't making that much money, even though we had a lot of captains who were very rich, a lot of the old times. And other ones are real rich. So it's like this with some of them. So he's trying to balance it out by putting some money guys with some make them earn some, make the money guys have the lesser guys earn money. So this is this relationship, I guess, with Jackie and Butterass, which Butterass was not a wise guy, but was close with John.
Okay. And when Locascio says when he comes, chase him, what's he saying there?
John says he gives me our page, this fucking Jackie, and then he gives him a bottle of cologne, like that's supposed to, he's beefing with Jackie. It was an old saying. It's like a slight. You give me our page. It was a commercial. Want our page? Cologne. So you don't come here with a bottle of cologne for me, like, you know what I mean? What do you give me? Bullshit.
That's good. He's a witty guy.
He's a very witty guy. Yes.
Yeah. So John says, "No, I told Jackie, can you get the guy?" He says, "No, I can't reach him." "You can't reach him? And he ain't with you?" "Yeah. And you can't reach him?" "No." So I showed him. You followed me, Frank. I mean, this guy's with you.
I think I know the guy. I'm not going to mention the guy's name. He's a legit guy. If I mention the name, everybody would know him, but I'm not going to do that. Hopefully he's on his own and he's doing very well still. And I don't want to bring him into this. But there's a guy that was around Jackie's Dejin. He wasn't with Jackie, but he's with somebody in his crew. Guy had a lot of money.
Okay.
And who had a relationship with him was Joe Butter. Joe Butter could reach him. So and that's how they got the guy to come in. They met him in a hotel in Manhattan. So that's where John's going with this. And John's now pissed off with Jackie saying, "What do you mean? The guy's in your crew." He's not a criminal by far, but he's with somebody that an associate is with somebody, like we articulated earlier on the other show. is that you should have the ability to call anybody you want in, Jack. You're a captain. What do you mean you can't get him? He's going like this, John. Is this guy giving me this answer? Really? He's supposed to say, okay, John, I'll find him. Even if he can't. Okay, John, I'll get him. And find your way to go get him. You know, John, the guy's with you and you can't find him? What? Are you serious? You know, John's again now disappointed in Jack at this point.
John continues, them two get pinched. You follow what I'm trying to say, Frankie? Where are we going here with this? This is the new game. We got tough guys with us. They look at me like I'm fucking nuts. And you think that I'm reaping billions of dollars, Frankie? I don't want none. I don't want a fucking thing. And this guy, I mean, what? I love you. Where are we going here? You know what's frightening to me, Frankie? I love him. I don't give a fuck because I know if I blast him a little, and then he'll slow it down. What happens when I go away? Or I'm gone? When I'm dead, Frankie? You two are the fucking guys. Fuck me. The whole family gotta go and find out. Is this what we're gonna invite? This is probably what happens. I'll throw myself in front of a fucking... Then he pauses and he says, I'm sick, Frankie. I've been sick over the whole weekend. I've been sick over this the whole weekend. You know what I mean? I love the guy. I go up to the hospital. I see his...
Hold it right there. Hold it right there. Going too fast, too far down the road. All right. He's talking about it. The money is not an issue with him. It's not about money again. And he's saying, I love you guys. And that we're all supposed to be part of this marriage. Sammy's off the reservation. He's on his own. What scares him, what's frightening, John don't really use those words, right? He said, what scares him, what happens if I'm not around? Or if I am around, what happens? Is he going to try to take control? What happens when I'm not here? Fuck me, I go to prison. What happens with you two guys? He's telling Frankie, this guy's going to take over the family. That's his interpretation here.
Wow.
If I ain't here, this guy's going to run right over this family. He's going to take it over. Is it going to be chaos? He puts it in a form. Is it going to be chaos? Is it going to be disarray? Is the family going to devolve into what? But what I think he's really saying is, I can't leave this in Sammy's hands. If I go to jail, they know. I remember we talked on another show. They knew that there was a pinch maybe coming down or something. They always had the little information about pinches coming down. Now this is a year out from when they get pinched in December of '90. This is a year away, so I don't think it's about this. But John always felt he would get hit with another case. So he's saying he thinks he's just going to get arrested. If he's arrested, this is what could happen.
And then he goes about this. I go up to the hospital. I see his kid. I find out he bought a fucking moped.
All right. It puts her, when I first heard this tape years ago, it put something in context for me. And it was something that I was puzzled by at one point because I didn't understand John's anger. And it was the anger was at me. Really angry. And when I heard the tape and I knew the timetable of when this happened, it hit me. This tape put his anger towards me in perspective. Sammy's son, we know what happened with John's son, right? He was killed on a bike, right, motorbike. Sammy bought his son a motorbike. He was hit by a car. He was in the hospital. John went up to see him with Jack Giordano, Jack the actor. I don't know this. I went, me, Frankie Fabiano, Danny Farmer, Frankie Mariconda, Noel Mordecai. We bought a present for Sammy's son. We go up the same day he's going up. Again, unbeknownst to us, John's there. We're all in the elevator, and we're going up. Now, most of the guys in the elevator are murderers. Very capable guys. All young guys. All very close to Sammy. Exclude Noel. He's very close to me, and his father's a wise guy, his grandfather's a wise, but Noel's with me. We're in there being silly, telling jokes, kidding around, this and that. The elevator comes up, the doors open, like this. Who's there? John, with Jackie the actor. Now we all like, instead of being kiddie and goofing around, you know, we all like straighten up. Oh my God, it's like getting hit with a cattle prod. Oh my God, you know. We see John. I see his face. He's steaming. Hey, John, I go out first. I go kiss him hello, Jackie the actor, and John's really ice, right? Noel happened to hit him in the leg with this box getting out of the elevator because he was trying to get in. They get in, we say goodbye. He just gets to the elevator, goes down. I think it was the next night we went to a wake in Cusimano and Russo in Brooklyn. And a wise guy on that funeral parlor, his father on the funeral parlor, his partner was a wise guy, skipped at one time. Anyway, old man. And we had all our wakes there. Gambino Family, for the most part, had their wakes in Cusimano and Russo. So I go to the wake. And when you walk into the wake to the left side, there was a little room. And in this little, before all the chapels, right? In this little room, John was sitting in there with maybe 10 captains. First thing I do, I go in and say hello. I go home, I give him a kiss hello, and again, he's got that face on. He's steaming, right? He goes, yeah, how you doing? I can't say verbatim, but I'll give you the gist of it. Say, Chief, how you doing? So how you doing? I said, doing good. He says, what do you think of those guys on 13th Avenue? I don't know where he's going. Now, like I said, John sometimes would say things to somebody and mean it for somebody else. And I knew this about John. So when it's going in my head, I said, where's this going? I said, they're not that nice of guys in this, again, not verbatim. That not nice of guys, John. He goes, really? Bunch of hooligans, huh? He used that word. I said, yeah, you could say that. He said, you acted like a hooligan, you and those guys in the elevator. And that fucking Noel, if he ever hits me with something again, I'm chopping his head off. Boing, right down, right? I say, holy shit, you know? I says, John, never happen again. I'll handle it with Noel. He says, leave. I turn around, I walk out, I go, what the fuck? So now I'm sitting there. Now Jackie's not there and Gravano's not there yet, right? So John gets up and leaves. You don't even wait for Sammy, right? Either they stay in there, he gets up and leaves, everybody leaves. So I wait for Jack to come and I go with Jack. And I tell him what happened. He says, you got to be kidding me. I said, this fucking guy, he gave it to me in front of everybody. Why is he so mad, Jack? What's going on? You hear anything? He goes, no. Now I'm trying to think. I says, could it be him seeing Sammy's son, right? And equated this with his son dying in an accident, and it just really upset him? Could it be that he got that angry? He's that mad, or, you know, it put him in a very bad place in his life right at this point? This is what I'm trying to posture with this, because I had a great relationship with this guy. All of a sudden, he just opened me up in front of everybody, right? Just about. And that's what I was attributed to. I'm telling Jack, could it be, you know, with the son and, you know, bad memories? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. So I'll find out. I said, no, don't ask him. Leave it alone. You know, if he says something to you, he says something to you, you know? We'll find out. A few days later, I see Jack. He says, we need to talk. I said, what's up? I said, John? He says, yeah. He says, he wants you on Mulberry Street every night, 5 nights a week. He wants you by the Bergen every Saturday. So I look, I said, Jack, what's this about? Wait, he tells me, you don't go by Sammy's on Tuesday night no more. He knows everything that goes on there. He don't want you there. Now I'm on the spot. What do I tell Sammy? That I'm not going to be there. I'm not even going to show up anymore. So it was a bad situation. I said, wow, why is this guy bad? He wants me around every night. So, I did my thing. I went around every night. And, I'll explain how we caught up and things got, in John's eyes, I think, how things changed for me and him, which the relationship was super strong after that. And I'll tell a story with Jack that'll put it in a proper place, how strong his and I relationship became after that, probably stronger than before. But that was this part at this time period, at this time, place in time, moment in time, that John lost his mind. And upon hearing these tapes, it wasn't all about his son being killed on a motorbike and Sammy's son almost getting killed on a motorbike that put him in his bad place. It was Sammy and these tapes. He's seen me get off an elevator, a guy he really liked and was grooming, right? Get off an elevator with a whole bunch of killers that were very close with directly with Sammy at the time, and says, "You construction, the this, the that, the garbage, Sammy going out, taking my underboss, acting underboss, going to do jobs." Just Michael, all these guys, he's got all these shooters with him. Wow. You know what I mean? So this is in John's mind. This is now when I see that, when the first time I seen it and I put the time together, of course I seen it about the moped. And that's when it hit me. Boing. That's what it was. So he was really, really in a bad place at this time, John. So I get it. I got it when I heard the tape. I got it. So
when he's saying, I'm sick. He's up all night. He's for real.
For real sick. He don't know what to do. Who's he got to kill first? Frankie's not going along with me. And you believe it, John was thinking about it. He's sick. He was all night long. And he's probably thinking about his son also with the bike. That had to upset him. John had a big heart with things like that. Very caring. And I know that had to upset him, but that wasn't why he took it out of me. I know why, because of that thing, what was going on. So again, I'm long-winded. I'm sorry, but
no, but that's beautiful detail. So when you spoke to him, when you first saw him at the Ravenite, so you went down and did you and him ever talk it out where it was put to bed?
No, John didn't have to say anything. He told Jackie what he expected of me, and I did it. 5 nights a week, Saturdays at the Queens, and then he would tell me after a while, Saturday after everybody was leaving, I would leave last. Me and Jackie would be the last, except for the guys that he grew up with, and the son and everybody else was around. All the other guys from the captains and soldiers that were there to visit all left. There was only a few guys left. I made sure I always stayed to the end, never left until he left. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at times, whatever it was, 5 o'clock, whatever he decided to go home on a Saturday night, because he did go home on Saturday night. I stayed there. And he would tell me after a while, "Michael, what are you doing tomorrow?" That's Sunday, right? "No, I'm going to be home, John. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be by Jimmy Brown's tomorrow. Don't tell nobody. Meet me there." "Okay, Chief." I go to Jimmy Brown's. I don't go to Jimmy Brown's, right? On Sunday. I don't go to Jimmy Brown's at all, unless I had a message or something to bring. "Hey, Jay, I go in there and say hello to everybody on Sunday. What's up?" "No, nothing. I came to say hello." Jimmy come over to me. "John's coming? Boss is coming?" "I don't know." After John leave, "Why didn't you tell me the boss was coming?" "Why?" "Because he told me not to tell you."
You told Jimmy Brown that?
Oh, yeah. Jimmy Brown didn't like me after a while. True story. So every time they see me, whenever John said meet me on Sunday, I didn't have to say a word. They knew John was coming.
But why did John tell you to go to Jimmy Brown's?
He wanted whatever John had in his mind with me, he wanted to show those guys where I was. My opinion.
Oh, wow. Man, this guy's a strategic guy. Wow.
So it was a divide with the Brooklyn guys with me, guys I know my whole life. Jerry Brown knows me since I started walking. My mother used to work with him in a dress shop. I used to go there as a little boy in the dress shop. So, and these guys know me, and they were not happy. Jimmy was not happy I didn't tip him the boss was on the way the first time. He knew every time I showed up after that John was coming.
You told me, and then we'll get back onto these tapes. I'm asking one more question about Jimmy. In one of our videos before, you said there were some guys who were devastated when John was taken off the streets, but there were some guys that popped champagne.
100%. I told his son that.
You think Jimmy Brown was one of them?
Absolutely.
Wow.
He probably bought the champagne and gave it out. Metaphorically.
Yeah. Wow. And do you think John Gotti knew it?
Yeah.
He knew. Okay. Wow. Man, that's compelling. Look, moving along a little bit. I got to be honest with you. This is Gotti talking to Locascio again. I got to be honest with you. I don't want any part of these kind of things here because I could see we ain't got ours. We ain't got the Brigada in Hawk no more. Now we got ourselves to gain. And that's not for me. That's not John Gotti. At least I hope that's not me. Maybe I see myself in the light that I'm not in. I don't know. But that's what I feel I am. But he's going to get off. He's going to get it off me pretty good tomorrow. And I want to know everything that every one of these guys are in, what businesses they are in. I want to know when they got in them and how they got in them. That fucking guy. What's John talking about here?
He's going to go talk to Sammy, and he wants Sammy to break everything down that he's doing, who's got it, and who's giving the money? Where's the money? Is what he's talking about. He's not really caring about the money, but the family has enough money where broke guys don't have to be broke anymore. That's what he's saying. The family's not in hock anymore. We could give guys money. We could put guys to work. We could have guys have companies. There's the context where he's going. So he says he's going to go give it to Sammy tomorrow.
Locascio says, this is the first time I really just saw Locascio just now beginning to just agree without just strong, just Locascio responds, that's it. That's the key. John responds, I want to know when and how they got in them. These are all businesses that nobody had a fucking year ago, Frank. On my back, I got a million good guys. My son didn't open up no new companies. My brothers didn't. My son-in-laws didn't. Nobody opened up new companies. They took it upon themselves. Joe Piney and Sammy, he made my brother Pete get involved with that fucking asshole with the windows. Never made a dime. He's going to jail for it. Well, tell me something that one of my family got that they never had before, and I'll make you fuck me in the ass.
That's a way of expressing himself. That's John, boy. I keep thinking that's John, but that, the way he puts things is pretty unique. Talk about adding color. But that's why nobody should get offended when they hear John talk, because he's going to say the same things about himself. That's just the way he put things in context. He was very colorful, how can I say? But what he's saying here is very serious. Now he's going back to saying, look, we're going to go back to Gravano again and say, he opened up all kinds of companies. All the people around him opened up all kinds of companies. They're all getting rich. My own family, I'm the boss. My own family has what they had before I was the boss. They did not capitalize on anything if I was the boss. They didn't open up all this stuff. They didn't take control of the industries. They didn't take control where they could have, but they did not. where Sammy is, this is what he's saying, where Sammy did capitalize on everything with his new position. Going back what he said, he was nothing under Paul. Sammy was nothing under Paul. He became something under me. So this is where John's ire is. This is where his anger is, all about this. My own family, my own friends. I got tough guys that are broke. I got a million guys that have nothing. Where are their jobs? Where's their companies? Why aren't you coming to me? I got this opening in 282 or 23 is a foreman job. Could you, John, you got a guy you want me to put there? I think he says that later on the tapes, but that's where he's going with this, which is only normal. This is only normal.
Now, I want to also just say, because just to show that sometimes they're completely different in perspective. Now, in Sammy's autobiography, he says that John has said to him before, hey, you're paying your guys too much. You know, you got to keep them broke, keep them hungry. Gotti continues, for Christ's sake, I love you more than I love myself. For fucking Christ's sake. I'm worried about you going to jail. I don't give two fucks about myself going to jail. Don't I know they ain't going to rest until they put me in jail? Want to add anything here?
Yeah. He's saying, Sammy, I gave you a complete trust of the Bugada. I care about you. And now you're ruining everything, and I'm going to go to jail. He's not saying they're going to jail. He's saying he's going to jail. And he don't care. And he does care. He don't want to go to jail, but he knows his reality. And he was hoping that these guys would do the right thing. If it's Sammy or Frankie or whoever it is, like he stated earlier, was it going to be a mess? What's going to happen here? Sammy's going to run over the whole family. So in a sort of way, he's trying to round it out with Frank.
All right, so we're wrapping up here. Let's finish this out here. So Gotti says he's finishing out this, well, continues talking to Locascio. So I fight it tooth and nail to the fucking end. But at least if I know you two guys are out here, we got a shot. Nobody got a shot, Frankie. Maybe our kids, my kids or my kids in trouble. Maybe some other jerk-off's kid is in trouble. They come to you. You guide them right, give them a little lecture. And maybe we got to think there's some proper resemblance of a family. Where else can you lead them? Don't you see it? With this Johnny told me on the phone, forget about it. Don't you see what I mean, Frankie? The guy cried today to me on the fucking phone. He's in jail. Says to you he sends his lawyer, his private investigator. You asked for help. I send you the help that you asked for. Did you speak to the lawyer? Yeah, he walked away. What's this about?
Oh, somebody's in jail. But earlier, what he's saying that if he's not in the street anymore, and now you're the wise guy, you could say kids as wise guys, or really your own family, your personal family has problems. We need somebody to look up to. I got to leave somebody in the street that these guys can look up to, their kids, our family members, that they're going to get true guidance. Kick them in the ass when they have to, bring them to reality, or help people. This guy in the cans crying, he needs help. John's saying, we're going to help you with lawyers. We're going to help you with that. Who's going to do all of this? I'm not here. Who's going to do it? John did help people with lawyers, appeals and stuff. Christmas time, he would send money to guys' families that were doing a lot of time, etc. So he's saying, who's going to be the caretaker? I got to leave it to you two guys? I got to trust him?
Wow. Fast forward just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I sit down, every time you fucking talk with somebody, they have another business. What business you in? Where the fuck are you going here? Where the fuck are we going here? You know what I mean? Where the fuck you kidding somebody or what? Listen, Frankie, I could have been like the other cocksuckers. Put Sammy in. Who's going to challenge me? Who's going to defy me? What are you going to do? Take a shot? What's he saying here?
Oh, he's mad again. He's mad again. And he's saying, I'm not sleeping like Paul Castellano slept. I see what's going on. I know what's going on. He put Sammy in, and now he's saying, right or wrong. Is it a mistake or not? I'm not. When he calls out, he calls jerk offs. He means while the wise guys. He's calling. This is the way John speaks again. He calls guys cocksuckers. He don't mean it. The guys. It sounds pretty condescending, but that's the way John talks. And he means like a wise guy and all this, and Paul being is going to sleep, like I said, and it's not going to happen to him. He sees it.
Okay.
He's giving a message to Frankie here. It's also Frankie's getting a message. He's not talking to Sam. He's talking to Frankie, saying, "Don't think I'm sleeping on this."
Down to the last paragraph. I just want to ask you that. Now, what do you? John says that I'm not sleeping. I see what's going on. But to a certain extent, was John sleeping to let this stuff pile up like this?
Yeah, he trusted him, and that's the disappointment that you're hearing bleed through here. That he trusts him, and again, he brings it back to the end. What do we do? Forget about the business end of the family. Forget about all the murders right now. What happens when our kids need guidance? What happens if other members need to be taught something? What happens when you have to, like I said, kick somebody in the ass or put them straight or talk to them? Not even that we're going to get once I'm off the street.
Is that sincerity? Or is that just talking to?
Yeah, not John.
Like he really feels that way. But now you read these transcripts. He says all throughout, if I'm dead or when, not if. When if I'm, he's saying when I'm in jail, almost like it's coming at some point, and I gotta have this thing situated before I'm in that bitch.
That's right. Yeah.
So, is this? Do you think that's the kind of guy he was, where he would be? I know I'm going to be in the can one day. I got to get the circus he called earlier in these transcripts. I got to get this circus straightened out. He said, I don't want to leave a circus for when I'm in the can. Is this the way he's talking about? I want to make sure our kids got a place to go. If our families need money, they have a place to go. Is that, and you believe that's John? That's sincerity.
Yep. And he feels like he's been, like, again, he's the clown. He said it without saying it about himself.
Continuing with John, what are you going to do? Take a shot, sleeping like I did to the other guy? Talking about Paul, right?
Killing Paul.
Frank, I welcome that. Frank, I welcome that. I'll kill their fucking mothers and their fathers. What's he talking about?
You know, the message to Frank and everybody else. I'll
fucking kill all you motherfuckers if you turn against me. Is that what he's saying?
Yep.
You're all dead. Don't challenge me. I'm not sleeping.
Right.
Okay. All right. But I would welcome that, Frankie. But I'm saying I'm not going for that. They don't belong here. You belong where you are. That's the way I feel in my heart. He, meaning Sammy, he belongs where he is. What, tomorrow? I didn't give him no fucking gift. Bring you no gift, Frankie? I didn't give you no gift because you make good meatballs. He's saying Frank earned the spot.
And so did Sammy.
So they were in their rightful seats. Right. They just weren't
acting right at the time.
They weren't following protocol in their seat.
And they weren't given anything. They earned being there in John's eyes, and they did. Sammy did it by being right or wrong, killing Paul. That's another subject. But according to John, him joining John and having that coup and the Gambino family, John felt he really earned it after Frankie was dead to give him an administrative spot, and Frank Locascio also. So he's being disappointed. He's disappointed. And he's saying that Frankie with the meatballs, Frankie brought meatballs with tons of garlic. Frankie Locascio reeked of garlic. He used to eat a lot of raw garlic. He liked garlic. And his meatballs were known for, you eat that? No, but no devil's coming at you. No bad fire.
We close out here. Last line, and we'll wrap this show up and we'll continue. Guys, we're going to go through the whole thing, but we're going to finish this show up here. Last line of this section of the transcripts. You deserve to be here. but that don't mean you gotta fucking rob the family.
He's not talking about you to Frankie. Meaning Frankie's you. He means Sammy. And he just out and out accused him of robbing the family. He's saying you robbed the family. Case closed on that tape. Everybody out there, is my interpretation. I know some people will not be happy with my interpretation of these transcripts. That don't matter. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody's had their opinions, made their statements with, for, or against this. This is mine. I challenge anybody. I welcome anybody to sit down with me with those tapes or post something. Anytime. The tapes are very clear. They're not ambiguous. They're direct. And it's all pointed at Gravano. John's disappointment in Gravano's means and ways to have people murdered to get what he wanted. John knows he was led like a clown in this circus that he didn't want to be a part of. He's starting to feel like a clown. That's all I got to say.
So I have one final question that I want to ask just about putting all this, what we just went through, into a capsule. So we know Neil, at this point of the meeting, Neil's dead. Frankie's dead. Quack's on the shelf. Quack's on the shelf. Willie Boy's dead. John is suspicious of Sammy. A lot of the people who were around John, his people he trusted, were dead, on the shelf, or he's uncertain.
What about his brother and Johnny Cadilla? Have a major case. They're going away.
There you go. So you're adding more into it. It would almost look like the walls are closing in on John. So my question to you is, were the walls closing in on John? And if they were, did John need Frankie if he wanted to move against Sammy, or did John still have the power at that point, December 12th, 1989? He could have whacked them both and continued to rule the family.
It's a conundrum that John was kept up at night, like he stated. This is the problem. This is why you try to pull Frankie up and have him commit either way. If John kills Frankie Lowe along with Sam, right? People are going to flip out in the family. You just took two factions. You took the Bronx faction, turned them against you. There's still a lot of tough guys up there, including his son, that can mount a charge in alignment with Sammy's guys, if they so choose to. You would have two major factions that were in concert with you to take down Paul, now in conflict with you. So he had a major problem. How could he kill two administrative position guys right under him? How would he look to the other families? Did John lose his mind? Does John have to go out and on the soapbox and go tell everybody Sammy was a bad boy? Does he throw everything on Sammy? What about Frankie Lowe? What'd you kill him for? John would look like an animal. John knew he was in the box. So he tried to pull Frankie back into the fold by giving him guilt. My opinion. Wow. He needed Frankie to kill Sammy, to be on his side. He was going to kill Sammy. Big question mark is, why didn't he? It was a year later they got arrested. Something changed. We don't know. Let's see the rest of the tapes. Maybe something's in there.
Damn, you're right. I didn't think about that. It was a year later.
Yeah.
Wow.
And somebody else reminded me of that recently also.
Now, let me ask you, it's just your opinion. So it's just your opinion. Because you were there. Why do you think he didn't? Why didn't he not? Like, what if you just, it's a theory. It's not have to be fact. It's just a theory. Maybe you can enlighten us a little bit.
Well, one thing comes to my mind is Sammy never backed it up. Sammy didn't give up any companies. Sammy continued exactly what he did before. Nothing was taken away from Sammy through the next year. Did John ever have that talk with him? I don't remember the tapes going forward. I will read some stuff and I'll try to dissect those tapes going forward the next days, whatever they were. But nothing changed for Sammy. Did John ever have that talk? We don't know. Did John just sit back? He did. Nothing happened. Did John have another case after that? He did. Right?
Is it possible that John started to see Sammy as too powerful to kill, and he just tried to contain him rather than?
Yeah, but he didn't contain him. He did nothing.
Well, contain him in enough where placate him. John still maintained he's the boss, kept control of the family, but thought he's too big, he's too powerful to kill at this point.
All right, I throw one back at you now. If he really felt like Sammy was doing that, taking over the family, what stopped Sammy from clipping John? And then he goes to the commission and said, "I got ordered to do it, to kill Paul. I had no choice, but I killed this guy."
I really want to ask you this because I did a show on it a long time ago, and I would love to get your perspective. Don't think if you can just go back to that moment, this time period, with the power that you knew Sammy had in the family, rode it around New York. He knew a lot of other families and stuff. He had connections all over the place. If Sammy tried to usurp John, did he have the power to do it?
Absolutely, no question.
Well, I guess
he's got in the pocket. He's got a gas pipe. Does gas pipe love the Gottis and the Ruggerios?
If I had to go to jail for my crimes, I should never come out of jail. I don't deserve any sympathy from anybody or anything. But I deserve the deal I made. They should honor the deal I made.
Well, I would put it this way.
What was the attempt on gas pipe's life? Fall of 90? Oh, fall of 89?
Something like that.
Or was it earlier?
It was before Willie. No, it was before, because it was before Willie.
86. Wait a minute. It was 86.
Yeah, it was right after.
Okay.
It was Heidel. It was right after after John took power.
Everybody can fact check me. By the time this comes out, I'll have the answer. But I think it was 86. I think it was the fall of 86, the attempt on gas pipe's life. And who did it? Angelo Ruggerio, right? Was the culprit behind it. What happened to Angelo? He went on a shelf. His life wasn't taken. You think gas pipe was happy with that? Who was he friendly with? Who was Sammy friendly with? He was very close to gas. So now Dux goes away. By this time, Dux is gone. It's Vic and Gas's family, right? They have no problem killing anybody, including Frank DeChico, Eddie Leno, and Bobby Borrell later. Besides a whole bunch of their own guys he was killing. So if he goes to Gas and says, "I'm going to clip John," Gas will say, "You want me to give you a lift?"
Well, I guess I should say it this way, because when you usurp a family, it's having the ability. John usurped Paul. He killed him and kept the family. That's what I would say you usurped, not you killed him and then you were killed. So when I say did Sammy have the power that he could have clipped John and took over the family and kept it without?
Well, like I said, he would have had to go to commission first.
Okay.
He would have had to go through the commission, and just my opinion, one of his contacts would have been Gas.
Well, maybe I'm thinking too broad. I guess I'm saying with the 25 captains have stood behind Sammy and said, okay, he's our new, and been okay with Sammy leading the family.
Well, it definitely would have been less than 25 because his brother was a skipper.
Okay.
Majority of the captains, they wouldn't have mind having John out of the way.
Wow.
Okay. You think Gambino's going to cry for John? Joe Curry's going to cry for John. Jimmy Brown's going to cry for John. Manny Marino's going to cry for John. I can keep going. Frankie Dapp's going to cry for John. Do you think these guys wanted to beat the Ravenites at the table 3 nights a week, then on Saturdays? So, yeah.
And John saw all this, in your opinion. He saw all this, in your opinion. This was what was mounting.
Yeah, it would kept him up at night was Gravano. He never thought that Sammy would run like that. He underestimated Sammy big time. That's why he was allowing guys to get killed.
Wow.
But he waited a year and nothing ever happened. That's the part that if you had to ask John Sutton, why'd you wait? What was in your mind? Did you forgive Sammy? Did you have that talk with him? Did he bring you more money? What was it? Because Sammy didn't back up. Sammy was Sammy. And I got other conversations I could share later on that I had with about this stuff down the road. Like I said, look, me going to the club after that incident, Jimmy Brown's club. He just enlisted a Brooklyn guy, a Gravano guy, a Jimmy Brown guy, a Paulie Zach guy. He enlisted a strong, Bath Beach guy who had no allegiance to Queens. Zero. Me. Why did he do that? John had a plan.
Is it possible that Sammy was just too high profile, like outside of the mob at that point? Like kind of like there couldn't be another Paul, another big hit like that guy, like body.
Why not? He killed guys all day long. What's the difference?
Okay.
Why couldn't he hit Sammy? What's going to preclude him from hitting Sammy?
Yeah, I would love to have the answer to that. I would love to know.
Excuse me.
I would love to know the answer. Like what was it? Because
maybe there's something in the future tapes that we can extrapolate. Maybe there's something that'll catch my attention there. I don't know.
Michael, great show. Wow, this is definitely my favorite show we've ever done. I mean, wow. I mean, you really could have been a lawyer in another life. I mean, wow. Astounding watching you break those tapes down. I read those transcripts.
There you go, using that foul language.
Oh my God. I read those tapes. I had to read that 5, 6, 7 times. You know, I read stuff. I see all these markers in my Sammy book. Every single page has notes on it. It has like highlights across it. I really combed through and like every book I read, and I went through those tapes. I mean, you broke those things down with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, wow, astounding. I mean, every single thing in there, wow.
You know what my highlighter is? I'll give you a little one before we close. When I spoke with Sammy when he first came home, he called me like maybe a day or two after he was out, this last case. And in talking with him and his people, maybe we were going to do something together at one point and all this other stuff, which I really had no interest in doing. Sammy would turn around and tell the people in the room or the people that I knew from his past life, Michael's my encyclopedia. Hell of a compliment coming from him.
Wow.
So I'm not bragging about myself, but that's my opinion. I was part of that life. I know how people talk and the vein they speak most of the time, not all the time. I can only give you a good assessment of what two people that I know, Gravano I know since a little boy, to a guy I got very close to in the street, having fun and know his humor, and see his anger at times. So
Wow.
I
You know, I
know,
think
I know the protocols, RJ. Again, I don't know everything about the life, but I know a lot of protocols. A lot of them are simple. A lot of protocols, you know what they are? Common sense. You have a book of rules, and then you have common sense. Well, what he did with Frankie Lowe, he took Frankie Lowe apart by challenging him knowing that life. He knew Frankie knew that life. He just didn't know Frankie's motive. So I hope everybody enjoys this.
yeah, it's fantastic. Wow. The best thing I think that you do, which is not common, you don't you don't search out other people's story or information. You don't read books from people who were connected to your life and things like that. A lot of times I'll say, hey, Sammy has this show and this is what he said. This is pretty interesting. Did you see it? You'll go, no, I didn't see it. And if I want to talk about it, you'll say, well, send me a clip, or you'll just ask me to give you a little bit of what was said. But typically, I guess my understanding is you're not, something has to make its way to you, but you're not looking for it. And I think that's what keeps you so, pretty sharp on your own history. So,
RJ, I've had enough in my life. I don't need anybody else's stories.
yeah.
I'm not to say I'm not interested in other people. Of course I am. But for me to seek out their stories and read their books and bios, I don't have the drive for that. Like I told you, when I was in the street and Gravano wrote that book, and when he flipped, and his interview with Diane Sawyer, I seen the first part, I didn't see the second part. I was sick to my stomach. I loved the guy. I idolized the guy. I looked up to the guy. So there was a lot of emotion that went into that. And again, the thing is, I did the same to others. I sicken people. So the same thing. So I don't need to go out and explore somebody else's stories and all that. I have my own grief. I have my own problems. Things like this, clear history, if we could clear history, this is my opinion. It's a matter of record right now when this comes out. And I'm willing, I'll challenge anybody to challenge me, my opinion. And if they change my mind, they can. I'm open to a mind change.
We're going to need Cochran if he's going to beat you in this debate here, because you broke this thing down with scientifically, mathematically, systematically, and any other word, any other synonymous word with that. I don't see. To me, it's not the. To me, it's case closed.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, guys. Leave comments. This is new content. This is something. This is fresh. This is new. There's nothing out there like this. You guys, I really would like to get some feedback from this. I want to see comments. I want to see what you guys think, because this is why I think Michael has the richest remaining history of any living person, as far as of the New York families that's at least talking right now, because there's been a light shined on John Gotti, Paul Castellano, that 1980s, 90s period. And the biggest voice box has largely been one person. So there's a way we look at Paul, we look at Gotti and many other people, and largely were influenced by one person's perspective. So Michael now puts another perspective. And you guys, you're the viewer. You decide what do you find more credible. We're not saying, it's up to you. All we're doing is putting the information out. You decide this makes sense. No, this doesn't make sense. Or that's for you guys to decide. But this is another piece of information for you to look at and assess and tell us what if you find it to be credible. Thank you guys for being a part of our show.
I got one other thing. Counselor, one other thing. Oh, okay. Now, RJ, it's just a suggestion. Maybe we could do a live with a question and answer after this if it becomes too voluminous.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, guys, when you're watching this, you know, I'm saying at the end of the video, but make notes. Take some notes, and I'll put that in the description when this video comes out. Write some things down that you might want to discuss or speak about more broadly, and we'll do a live and we'll talk about this.
Right.
So thank you. No excuses. We appreciate the support as always. And Michael, you want to close out here?
Thank you for listening. I can't wait for the feedback.
Thank you.